And welcome back, everybody. I hope you guys all enjoyed the social lounges. Don't worry, you all will be back there momentarily. But first, we have to start off with our first session and our first keynote speakers of today. Yeah, so right now, without further ado, I would like to introduce our first speaker, the Director of Small Business at the City of Boston. And this session is focusing on small business resource information sessions. So everyone who's an entrepreneur, everyone who has a small business, this is for you. Natalia Urtubey, she focuses on coordinating with local residents and existing businesses to remove barriers to do business in Boston through the City of Boston. And of course, we have Bill Husley, an attorney and SCORE Boston volunteer, which organizes and is dedicated to business mentorship that provides business owners with the tools to succeed. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us here today.
Thank you so much, Laura. And, this is an incredible opportunity to come speak to all of you. I love fashion. And if I was just a little bit more handy with, talented with my hands, I, might have done something different with my life. But I'm really excited to be here. I want to talk a little bit about the different resources that the City of Boston offers entrepreneurs and small businesses, but also just really open up any type of conversation around any questions that you have about how to get started and what you should be doing. Let me kind of just back up because there's kind of two simultaneous conversations that are constantly happening in today's kind of time. So one is a COVID relief and COVID impacts of COVID type of conversation. And then there's a whole nother conversation that is just everyday work that the city is doing to support small businesses. So I'm going to start with the latter and talk a little bit about COVID. So for anybody who currently has a business in the City of Boston, the small business team, our office in the Office of Economic Development, we have a bunch of different things that we've been doing to support businesses, mostly focused on folks that have retail and physical locations, but are always looking to engage with additional businesses. Over the course of the last 6 months, we've issued over $7 million worth of direct grants to small business owners. These are not grants that anyone has to go in debt for or pay back. You just have to showcase how you spent the money. But these, relief grants have really been instrumental to a lot of our small businesses on just staying alive and staying afloat. But I want to kind of digress back to what resources that we offer small businesses today and entrepreneurs in particular. So our office puts on workshops and webinars on everything about business, from the legal aspects to accounting to marketing to social media and so many more things. So if any of you are looking for, let's say you are I need to develop a marketing plan for my business, that's something that we can help you with. So we actually will pair you up with a professional in the marketing field, and we will cover all costs. And so what this does is actually provides direct one-on-one service to any small business in the City of Boston. So you have to be either, if you're an entrepreneur and don't yet have a storefront, you have to be living in the City of Boston. And if you have a business, the business has to be in the City of Boston. So that's the way in which we're able to kind of expend these funds. The second resource that we have is for those of you who do have actual retail storefronts, we can work with you on beautification of your storefront and your signage. So if you're about to open a new business and you don't want that, the banners up, instead you want a real, flashy, beautiful sign, we'll actually help you do that. We'll help you hire the architects. We'll provide funding for that. And then we'll also help you just really be able to get it up and go through the entire process of approval, which is not often super simple. So we're delighted to be able to do that. And then, as I mentioned at the very beginning, is that we offer workshops. So we absolutely free workshops that are targeted to very specific topics. Right now, we're really focused on, bridging the digital divide and making sure our small businesses have access to those resources and that they know how to really benefit from the online marketplace and being a digital presence. I do want to say that we have incredible relationships. So I'm so glad to see SCORE here. The Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the SBA, there have been a lot of like ups and downs these last 6 months with the PPP loans and, other forms of relief. And we know that small businesses have not really been able to access those relief grants at at the rate that they should. However, I do want to say that the SBA and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, in particular, the SCORE program, is a tremendous, tremendous resource that each and every one of you should take advantage of. Bill's a volunteer, and this is how above and beyond these folks go. They came. He's here to talk to all of you about SCORE, but I also urge you to connect with. There's a lot of really great organizations out there that are doing tremendous work, really great, resources at the state level. And if any of you have not yet connected with us at the city or at the state, I urge you to please do that. It is an incredible opportunity that is available to all small businesses, and only a very small percentage of them take advantage of the incredible resources. So I'm going to drop some links in the chat. I really want to encourage each of you to ask your questions. I'm here to support. I have a group or a staff of 15 people who are all dedicated to helping small businesses. And one of those pieces is our neighborhood business manager. So depending on where you live or where you're doing business, my team, I will pair you up with my team, and they will be basically your go-to in my department. We also work really closely with other departments. So like, let's say, for example, you have a place and you are going through permitting and you're, need a fire inspection and you don't know how to do that. Our team will help you do that. And there's a million different permits and a million different things you have to do in order to be able to start the business. So we just help you navigate that system and really get through it. So I'm going to stop there and make sure that we can give folks.
I did have a question. You did mention that there's not a lot of people who take advantage of these resources. Why is that?
That's a great question, Laura, and I think there are a lot of different answers, and every person is different. So I think government hasn't been always as responsive as we could be and we should be. And so we've been doing a lot of work to build trust, right? So the current administration, Mayor Marty Walsh, is really committed to making sure that Boston city government is transparent, it is accessible, it is easy, and there's a lot of systems in place that make coming to us really difficult. We've been really working on language access, which is a barrier for some people. And so anybody that comes to us that speaks a different language, we can get translation services to be able to help you. I have members of the Somali, Vietnamese, Latino community on my team. So we're here to help and support all of our immigrant business owners as well. I think other barriers include just like, they don't know, right? And if you don't know what you don't know, and unless you're really willing to do some work and some homework, that's sometimes one of the barriers. And so what we're trying to do is bring more visibility and be more present and really be a connector between the community, the business community, and other resources. And so we have funding that we put towards these kind of one-on-one and other projects. We also have the 20 Main Streets program. So there are 20 different Main Street districts in the city of Boston, and they come under our shop, and we're really excited to have them. So they're another great resource that all are here and designed to support and help each and every one of you.
That's amazing.
So the city of Boston, if you have any questions at all, you can email us at smallbiz@boston.gov. And again, I will put some some links in the chat so that folks can connect with us. But I also urge you to join one of our virtual office hours, which we have every Friday from 9 to 11 or 2 to 4. And by joining those office hours, you can connect directly with our team with any questions. And I see that you're back, Laura. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, we lost your video for a little bit.
Okay.
And I think we just lost Bill. So I'm happy to take additional questions.
Yeah, anyone that is, if you have an important question, please don't be shy. Natalia is here to answer all of your important. And say, for example, I'm noticing in this pandemic there are of businesses happening and growing in this pandemic. And so, are the qualifications to as a small business to qualify for your funding? Who, they're clothing designers. Yeah, they have a product, but what can qualify them to get funding office?
Thank you, Laura. That's a great question. So there's a couple of ways that you can kind of be qualified as a small business. So we have really been intentional about supporting the really small businesses. So usually we define small businesses as under 50 employees or under $5 million in revenue. That's a traditional kind of like small business definition. For the city, and especially during the pandemic, we've been really focused on businesses that have less than 35 employees as a way of really targeting our smaller businesses. Those businesses that are working from home or like in that startup phase, we really just need you to prove that you've been in business in some way, shape, or form. So if you have an online marketplace and you can show revenue, for example, there's a lot of great digital tools these days that help people manage their business, like Shopify or, others. Those types of shows that you're in business. We also ask all businesses in Boston to certify through the clerk's office as a small business, and that actually just gives you validity as a small business. It's $65. You have to do it once every, I believe it's 5 years, might be 7. I don't know why I'm blanking on that, but you do it once and that actually carries you through. And so that in and of itself is proof that you are in fact a small business in the city of Boston. The state also has, you have to get your EIN, which is your tax ID number as a small business. That works as well. So if you've registered and you have that. So there's lots of different ways. I think that anyone who has a business should register with the state and the city. This allows you to be able to access the state and federal loan programs. So for example, a lot of businesses that did not have state ID or tax ID numbers really struggled during the PPP relief areas because there's no way to qualify that you are in fact a business. And so, we know that our Black and brown folks, our immigrants, we are hustlers by nature, and a lot of people are doing side jobs out, they're designing purses or they're like, selling t-shirts out the trunk of their cars. And that's great. That hustle mentality is, how businesses get started. But if you don't do the legal stuff that goes behind it, you can't really grow in the ways that you should, right? And so we really urge you to take a moment to look through all the requirements to be an established business and to be able to move your business forward in that way so that you can actually benefit from these resources.
Yes. And also, I'm not sure if Bill is there, but I would definitely love to hear information coming from SCORE Boston. Also, Natalia, does SCORE Boston and your office partner often, or do you all support? You guys haven't collaborated yet, and you guys all support themselves in different entities, or?
Yeah, so SCORE is a program of the SBA, and so the Commonwealth of Massachusetts has this program as a part of their everyday work. We use SCORE a lot for referrals, so a lot of businesses that are not quite there yet or have something a little bit more complicated, or just need guidance, we'll send them over to SCORE, and our friends at the SBA do the same thing. And send folks our way. So yes, there's a long-standing relationship and partnership there to really truly support folks, because at the end of the day, that's how we help our businesses, is by really getting them cleared and aware of all of the different elements that maybe they didn't know. I mean, we've dealt with folks who sign a lease and get a rental property, a commercial property, like they rent a commercial property.
Yeah.
And, before they're supposed to open, they realize they don't have any of their permits or their inspections, or they haven't, gotten clearance on certain things. And that delays an opening, which ends up costing business owners money. So what we try to do is give you guidance all the way along the road so that you don't have any of those kind of delays and mishaps that might happen during, your opening or just every day. We've dealt with landlords or businesses who didn't have heat and had to, work with landlords. So we provided them legal support to be able to, get the support they needed to get heat in their business. Because imagine doing business in the winter with no heat, like that's insane. So really being an advocate and a resource for small businesses.
And, this is Boston Caribbean Fashion Week. And so we have a lot of people who are in the fashion industry or who are thinking of entering into that space. And, from your experience and from the many people you've been able to help through your office, can you name a couple of experiences that you've been able to encounter with local businesses and how the city of Boston has able to change their situation?
Oh yeah. So I'm not going to name any of them, but I'll give some examples. There's a really great coffee shop in West Roxbury that we've been working with for a long time. We know them very well. They've been great business owners, and they were looking to explore a third location, right? So they had identified the space. They had were in negotiations with their lease. And so what we did with them is they came to us. They're like, we just want to make sure we're not making a mistake by going this route.
Yeah.
So we paired them up with an accounting and projections specialist group, and they then went through all of their projections. They looked at what the business wanted to focus on, all of these things, and they actually came up with that at the end of that opening a third location would actually be really bad business move. Even though they had the liquid cash to do it, they wanted to increase their visibility across the city. But they also were starting to focus more on not catering, but being the coffee provider to offices, right? Which right now is kind of a different conversation. This was maybe 8 months ago, 10 months ago that we did this. So that's an example. We helped guide a business to make a better business decision for them, not enter into another contract, like another lease, another, staff, and all these things that are really expensive, and which is why, we've seen the cost of coffee go up. It's not the actual coffee always. It's staffing costs, rent, buying the biodegradable cups that we all, are green and want. So that's one example. Another example is we've done full-blown marketing campaigns for businesses. So help them redesign their logos, help them rebrand, get them online, and actually carry out brand new strategic marketing ideas.
Wow.
I mentioned some legal support that we've done in the past. Sometimes, our landlords are small businesses too, and we want them to behave well and treat our businesses really well. But sometimes they're bad actors, right? And so we've had to, provide legal assistance to businesses to negotiate their leases, as an example. We have a startup manager in the Office of Economic Development that has been really working on helping, startup. We always think of technology or health and bio, but for us, smart startups can start anywhere, right? A business that is like launching from their, the trunk of their car or their basement,
Right.
those are startups too. And so we've started really focusing on like folks without any employees, real like entrepreneurs, which I think is most of you.
Yep.
To help you connect with those resources. We've also paired up with the Fairmont Innovation Lab and the Roxbury Innovation Center and other great organizations like that are really like this like space for incubators without it having to be a WeWork or a big corporation. Like, we want to support local. We want to incubate you locally. We want to help support you. I'm sure Joelle Fontaine will be on this somewhere involved here, because she is an incredible designer. She, Fairmont Innovation Lab. But, the work that we do every day with all of them is really kind of that niche, creative, solution-oriented space where we want to be.
Yes, that is amazing. And again, guys, be sure to put your questions in the chat. This is very, very informative. This is very important. This is something I know I will share with my circle of connections. And so if you're not going to use it, so I know somebody else will. And also, you did mention, COVID happened, unlike, and it came out of nowhere, right? We weren't prepared for this. Right. And so how was your department, what was the mindset at the time? What did you have to do in this situation? Because this is what this forum is about. We got to learn how to pivot. We got to know how to move when things like this happen. And so for you guys, you're out here helping everyone else. How are you able to help you guys sell yourselves so you can be able to help other people?
That's a great question. Let me give you just a little bit of background around the beginning of COVID when we shut down. Yeah. So we were working, everyone at City Hall was working literally 7 days a week, probably 12 to 15 to 16-hour days, right? We're just trying to figure out the right approach, how we help people, right? So our office, immediately, we saw this like coming just even before the shutdown. We said, this is going to get bad. What can we do? So immediately we put together a survey. We said, we got to figure out how to help people. So we asked the community to tell us what they needed help with. Mm-hmm. The second thing we did is we put together a weekly small business conference call for us to prepare and share resources around what the city was doing. Mm-hmm. And we've had surveys we're still doing them. I'll put survey 9, which is where we're at, in the chat. And if everyone here can fill it out, that would be great. And then from what we were hearing from business owners, because we asked business owners to tell us how we could help them. So from what we heard from them is how we've created almost everything we've done. We've put together guidebooks. We've put together other resources. We've put together, information lists. We have a PPE list of like local producers. So I know a lot of you in the fashion industry in particular were making face coverings and masks. If you're still doing that, we want to know, right? Put yourself on this list. It's a really easy way of getting visibility and getting business orders, but it was also a way of like making sure our businesses weren't getting scammed, making sure our businesses were able to access from local businesses. We actually partnered with BECMA on putting together that incredible list. And if you haven't yet connected with BECMA, please do. The Black Economic Council of Massachusetts. They're really fantastic. Great resource for any small business in the city of Boston. So we did a lot of really responsive things. And then now we're in the space of like continuing to prepare for the future, because at first it was about survival, and now it's about, how do we ensure that our businesses thrive? So surviving and thriving into the future of, Boston. And we've seen incredible response from the local community. So, the businesses that are really, really being impacted are the ones downtown. Everyone has been impacted, and this is not a competition. But we have seen our local community shop locally. We've seen everyday power, of our people, like really showing up. We've seen businesses pivot in incredible ways, in which, they are able to really like shift from one thing to the other. And we said very early on, if you don't go online, you will fail, because we don't know how long this is going to take. We don't know how long it'll be. And so, every industry is a little bit different. And I know for the fashion industry right now, the social media platforms are really a great way of building a following, selling, promoting yourselves. I don't know how many Instagram, like promotions I see from local business, and I love it. I buy all my Christmas gifts from local folks. Like, I'm like constantly, checking out those new brands. And so, we are here to help you do that. We're here to help you figure out what the best route for you is. And, we're just excited. I think as far as mental health goes, COVID has been really tough. And I think what we have been saying all along is like, don't open till you're ready, because we've already shut down. Shutting down was easy, relatively speaking, right? Like, in the action of what it meant to close down a city, much easier than to reopen a city.
Yeah.
And the last thing that we want is for our numbers to skyrocket so much that then we have to close again. Because I think the second type of closure would be more detrimental to our small businesses than the first, especially with the situation in the federal government and not really knowing when the next relief package is coming out. So I urge folks to really get connected and let us know how we can be helpful.
Well, we have a few minutes left before we end our wonderful chat. I wish it could be longer, but we have one here from Janet Sinclair. What opportunities and affordable spaces are available for small businesses that are already established?
So that is a really great question, and I'm so glad it got asked. So retail space is like one of the weird spaces where we don't have a lot of say, right? So, Janet, I look forward to connecting with you, and I urge you to email us because we fortunately do have these 20 Main Street districts across the city in our local neighborhoods. And so they are actually really, they have a pulse on the vacancies in their districts. They have a pulse on what's an affordable rent or what rent should look like in that space. And they can also help connect you to the landlord. Last year, we hosted a vacancy space fair where we invited landlords to come and promote their spaces to small businesses as a way of like bridging that gap. And so we're trying to figure out a way to do that virtually right now. That's a little bit more complicated. And then the other thing is like, if we connect with you, sometimes developers or, property managers will come to us and say, hey, do you have a business that could fill this space? And they'll tell us a little bit about what they want for the space. So landlords can say, okay, I want a food business, or I want a retail business, or I'd love to see a professional service business like an accounting firm or something. And we can then say, oh, yeah, we've connected with Janet. She would be really great for this. So then we just do an introduction. We can't really get involved beyond that, but we can definitely make those connections. And so, Janet, please email us at smallbiz@boston.gov. I would love to get you connected with one of my team members and be able to help you find a location that's right for you in whatever ways we can.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Natalia, I want to tell you thank you so much for giving us all these gems. Again, everyone in the audience, if you are an entrepreneur, if you have a small business, or you know someone who does, please share this information. This will be beneficial for all of us here. And again, Natalia, this was amazing, and I hope that everyone takes advantage of this. This is important, important, important. So I appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Laura. You have been a phenomenal moderator, very quick on your feet to deal with crisis. So I appreciate that. I also want to give a shout out to Althea, who's behind the scenes for this whole conference. And she is amazing. She's a great small business owner and did a really wonderful job coordinating all this. So thank you for your time. Please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We are here for you, and please, please, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.